Who here fears public speaking? Because I sure fucking do. I'm nervous as hell right now, and there was actually a US study done that more people fear public speaking than deaf. That's crazy, right? And to come to think of it, it's probably true for a lot of people as well. For me, I let my fears hold me back so much growing up, and I was shy, I was introverted, I just like to keep to myself, and I had friends, but I just felt like I never belonged, I never fit in anywhere. And for me, at school, I got caught up in the wrong crowd and crap grades. I was wagging school, I actually got caught. And my parents gave me an ultimatum. They're like, change schools or stop playing footy. Now, for me, footy was my life at the time. I wanted to play NRL, so I was like, all right, I'm going to have to change schools. That was scary. Like, who here's changed schools before? That's fucking scary. Especially for me, someone who has social anxiety, who's already introvert. Now, I remember that first day. I woke up instantly sick. And like when I mean sick, I mean like vomiting and just shaky, fatigued. I just wanted to stay in bed. I didn't want a part of it at all. I was in that like fight or flight mode, but for me, I was in that freeze mode. Didn't want a part of it at all. And I remember the whole car trip there. I'm telling my mum, I can't do this. Like, I need to go back home. And I'm super grateful for my mum. Like, she always understood me, and she knew like I was so nervous and I had all this anxiety, but she always pushed me to be better and to get out of that comfort zone. So love you, mum, super grateful. And yeah, this whole car trip, so sick, so nervous. I got to the school and got out of the car, walking towards these big gates, walking in, and I'm met by the assistant principal and some of the senior leaders showing me around. I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm still nervous, got all this anxiety. Next minute, I find myself in the main like hall with my whole year group. So I'm surrounded by like, I don't know, 100 boys. So I went from a co-ed school to an all-boys school. So I was like, fuck, like what have I got myself into here? And I'm in the middle, I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, like I don't know what to do. I'm shitting bricks. And I don't know if any of you have experienced this where you're in a situation surrounded by all these people that you do not know and you just don't know what to do. And that was me. And, after that, I finished the school day, and actually by the end of my schooling life, I made all these friends and I was confident. And the biggest lesson I learned from changing schools was we manifest all our own fears. We create all these scenarios and possible outcomes in our head, and 99.99% of the time, they never turn out that way. And it's so true. Like, and fast forward a few years, I'm in a similar situation. I was at university, and who here went to university for the fact of just going to uni? Like, you didn't even want to study, you just felt like you had to go to be successful, and that's what your parents wanted you to do. Yeah, that's where I was. And I was studying sports and exercise science, and a year and a half into my degree. I didn't like it. I didn't fit in. I felt awkward, didn't have many friends, anxiety every time I went there. And I remember this one teacher, I hated him at the time because he would pick me out solely and ask me, Nick, answer this question, answer this. And I hated it. I hate public speaking. It was a big fear of mine. But looking back now, like super grateful that he actually pointed me out, because that was the start of my journey into, gaining confidence and getting over my fears. And especially when it came to, public speaking and talking to people in general, because for me being an introvert and having social anxiety, like I wasn't interacting with people. I kept to myself, and, it was a big step and a leap in the right direction, but I hated uni, wasn't for me. And at the time I came across a fella called Gary Vee. Now, I hope a lot of you know who he is. He's an American entrepreneur, absolute goat. He inspired me and gave me so much motivation. And I was flicking through his social media one day. Up comes this ad, Success Resources. Come see Gary Vee in Sydney. I was like, jumping on it, bought my ticket. I think it was $97. And I told my parents, and they're like, why the hell are you skipping university to go to this event where they're just going to try and sign you up for these courses and take your money? And I was like, because Gary Vee, like, he's the GOAT. And looking back at it now, like, a lot of the speakers were there to try and sell you stuff, which is fine. Everyone has to make money. But I'm sitting there in the crowd listening to all these speakers, like, they were awesome speakers. The last speaker of the day was Gary Vee. Out comes this little small American guy. Well, actually, he's from the Soviet Union, but lives in America. Out he comes, and the crowd just, boom, focused straight on Gary. The way he moved a crowd, I was in awe. I was like, wow, like, the energy, the vibration around this guy, and the way he spoke, the way he impacted not only myself, but everyone in the crowd. I was like, why can't I do this? Like, inside, I've always wanted to have an impact in this world. I just didn't know what. And I was like, why can't I do this? Straight away, self-doubts, all my insecurities kick in. Nick, you can't do this. You're an introvert. You have social anxiety. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. If I want to be at that level, if I want to impact people, I need to make a change. I need to make a promise to myself that I'm going to take every opportunity that comes on my way. I'm going to jump out of my comfort zone. And that day was a massive pivotal change in my life, because the next week I dropped out of uni. I had no plan. I was just like, no, I need to do this. And it was a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. And as I said, no plan, no real direction, but I was following Gary Vee and all these other guys, and I was doing heaps of video content and podcasts and that. And I was like, this is what I need to do. So I bought my first camera, which is the one you're recording on right now. And I always sucked at the beginning. Like, my first few vlogs were terrible. Then I moved into podcasting. My first 10, 20 episodes were horrendous. I could barely string sentences together. I couldn't barely have conversations. But here I am today talking to you. My podcast is 140 something episodes. Out of that, 96 of those have been guests. I've grown so much as an individual. And, you know, that's just from taking that leap of faith and making that promise to myself. The biggest lesson I learned was, yes, there is so much fear when it comes to making those big changes, you know, those life changes. But once you overcome it, and on the other side of that, there's just so much growth on the other side. And as I said, it's just about taking that leap of faith, taking that first step and not looking back, because that's what you got to do. And for me, I did that, and, you know, it's been a massive journey. I'm so grateful. But this leads into the next story, which is actually really personal for me and quite recent as well. Before I start though, like, who here has a family member or someone close to them that you love dearly, but you just don't have that connection? You don't feel comfortable opening up, or like, raise your hand or comment or anything. Who here has, you know, that person in their life? For me, that was my dad. Now, I love my dad, but I've never had that connection. I've always had so much anxiety when, you know, serious conversations would come up, or when I wanted to express how I felt, but I just couldn't. And it just always would turn to anger, or, you know, feeling disappointed and just not happy at all. And as I said, I love my dad, but because I never felt comfortable, I would try to do all these other things in my life to try and make him proud of me. And a lot of the time, it was me doing stuff that didn't make me happy. And I'm currently working in my family business, which I'm grateful for everything my family has given me and the opportunities and stuff, but it's just not my passion. And for months, I was building up the courage to tell my dad that I want to pursue podcasting. I want to pursue like public speaking and all this kind of stuff that I got in the works right now. for me to go tell him that, especially leaving a job to do a passion, which is basically making, let's be honest, no money at the moment, and I'm about to be a father, so I have these responsibilities coming up in my life, and that was super scary. And I was creating all these scenarios in my head. I was like, oh, I'm going to get disowned. He's going to lose his shit. He's going to kick me out of home. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm so nervous, which didn't help at all. It just made more and more anxiety and made me more fearful to go and do it. But it was a Wednesday night, actually like 3-4 weeks ago now. I was doing a podcast with a guy called Travis Cochran. Definitely go check him out. He's an absolute legend of a bloke. And after that podcast, we got talking about, my goals and where I want to go, my aspirations. And I told him, but I was like, I got this fear, I got this, this thing pulling on me, like not letting me go and take that leap of faith. And it's like, oh, what is it? And I was like, it's my dad. It's me feeling like I have to work in the family business. I have to take it over. I have to make him proud. And we got talking and we actually did like this breathwork exercise, and he goes, dude, just think about how passionate you are about what you do, how much growth you've had, and how badly do you want to pursue it. And I was doing it, taking these breaths and just visualizing, and I had this surge of energy. And he goes, dude, like, it's 6:29, and he's into like angel numbers and like spirituality, and like I'm open to all that stuff. And he looks it up. I got it written down here actually. So 629 signifies closure and fresh beginnings. Your angels are alerting you that some aspects of your life are coming to an end. This will create room for you to enjoy new beginnings. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is this guy for real? Like, this is like, I'm open-minded, but is this like some hocus pocus kind of shit? But there was just something in me that I just had this feeling like I need to do it, like it's the right thing to do. And he goes, dude, you got to do this tonight, because let's be real here. If you keep living your life trying to make him proud or make other people proud without making yourself proud, you're never going to be happy. And that hit me hard. And he's like, dude, hang up from this call, go out there, talk to your dad. And as I said, I just had this surge of energy. I didn't know what was going on. It actually feels so bloody surreal now that I did that. And I got it on camera. My facial reaction when he said that, and I got up out of my chair. You could just see on my face like that determination, that confidence, that no fear. It was like gone. Boom, walked out there, told him. It didn't go as bad as what I thought. It didn't go as good as what I thought. But the fact was that I went out there, that I had the courage to go out there, overcome my fears, and tell my dad what I wanted. And let me tell you, that was a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I felt so bloody good after. Like, if you go on my Instagram, I recorded a video and you could just see the glow in my face, the happiness, the confidence. I was on top of the world. For some people, that's a little win. For me, that was a massive win, because my whole life, as I mentioned, I couldn't talk to my dad. But I had the courage to go out there and do that. And the biggest lesson from that story is that fear is not fact. It's a feeling powered by either your memory or your imagination. So for me, that fear was based on past experiences of talking to my dad. Of every time I would talk to him, it would turn into anger, all this anxiety. So I had this preconceived emotion of this is not going to go well. But it actually, it did. And one thing I've learned about fear is, everyone write this down, fear equals false evidence appearing real. It's so true. As I said, it's either conceived on your past or your imagination. You manifest it all. And as I start to wrap up, I guess the three big takeaways from these mini stories that I've shared with you today is, one, we manifest our own fears. We create all these scenarios in our head that, as I said, 99.99% of the time never come true. Number two is that there is fear when making big life decisions and big life changes, but there's so much growth on the other side once you take that first step. And the third one, as I just mentioned, is fear is not fact. It is powered by your memory or your imagination, and fear equals false evidence appearing real. Thank you so much for listening. This means so much to me to be here today, for the opportunity, Cody. Grateful. This is my purpose, to inspire others that anything is possible when you do step outside your comfort zone. Because once you leave that comfort zone, you grow. Once you take ownership of your life, you become happy and you live life on your terms. So thank you for the opportunity, and for anyone who's wanting to do a one-on-one call with me, to break down your fears and overcome them, reach out to me for tonight. Anyone can jump on for free, and upon signing up, you get a discount code to get some merchandise as well. Go check out the brand, go check out the podcast, The Better Project. I talk to some amazing people, some inspiring stories. Definitely recommend. You'll get so much value. But thank you once again, and super grateful for your